I don't know. I think when I was younger, I couldn't have sped up my identity. I felt it with time. I think more people feel lucky that they belong to a cultural group. I don't think they quite realized it, being young, that it's very special what we have.
For many people in the world, there is a moment of clarity when you see the world differently than you saw it previously. Those are the moments when we wake up to life. I'm Rabbi Josh Bennett, and this is Waking Up to Life, a podcast about those moments. Today on the show, I am so excited to welcome Mindy Roberts. Mindy, some of you may know from our community because she spent many, many years teaching Spanish. She was known as Senora. I just know her as a parent of teenagers who grew up at Temple Israel and as a member of Temple Israel. Mindy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being here.
I know you're a little bit nervous because you're going to now share your entire life story to the entire community of Detroit and the world. But your aha moment, your wake up to life moment happened over the course of time, but it all started when you were back in high school. So talk about what your life looked like as a young Jewish woman back then.
In high school, I don't think Judaism was a big deal to me, even though I went to Hebrew school. I had a bat mitzvah because I wanted it, because I was good in languages. And I ended up just kind of luckily joining BBG because I wanted a different social group. It wasn't because of Judaism, but I just felt like I don't really know who my group is. So that made a huge difference in my life. That's really where I met my husband initially.
So talk about that story. What happened to you? You started off just in the social connection, finding a new group of girls to hang out with. And then how did Gary end up being the guy you ended with?
Well, it's kind of a convoluted route. In BBG, I met him. I just thought he was cute, but like maybe too wild for me. And he thought I was, I don't know, too snobby for him. We were both wrong, of course. But I knew of him. And then we met again at, I forgot the name of the apartment building where everybody lived. And saw him again, and we remembered each other. And then we went on a date after that. That was like after I started teaching.
But he wasn't the first guy, right? You didn't see yourself needing to marry a Jewish guy, and somehow that happened. So how did you get there?
Well, after going to BBG, and then in high school, I went to MSU and was dating a lot of different guys, and it didn't matter to me if they were Jewish. It mattered to my parents, and they didn't want to hear about it. But I was seriously dating someone that wasn't Jewish. And something wasn't right. Well, I don't know exactly what. I don't know if it was just Judaism. But then when I met Gary, everything was right. And I thought, this is the way it should be.
So when you look back at that full story, starting in high school as a new BBG recruit, going to the moment when you made the decision to actually marry Gary Roberts.
Mm-hmm.
Is there something that you think triggered that for you? Is there something that pushed you to make that change? Obviously, beyond the fact that he's just a good guy and you enjoyed the time you spent with him, is there a thread that pulls through all of this where you sort of realized, boy, this really does matter to me?
The Judaism part, it just every piece fit. I remember we were at Franklin Park Towers pool, and we were in this group that we all knew, and everybody was kind of playing a game, hink pink. And then everybody was going to leave, and we had all been flirting with each other. And I just kept thinking, he's the guy. He's the guy. Why doesn't he ask me out? So we were all leaving, and then I was one that said, want to pick up some Chinese food? And he said, oh, okay. So I don't know. That was the first time it was out of character for me. It just felt right.
So there's something about this Jewish community that makes members of the Jewish community feel a connection, even when there's nothing more than not even a physical connection, right? We go through the world and we know people who are, as we say, MOT, members of the tribe.
Right.
So what did you then, fast forward, tell your children about this decision-making process? How did you transmit that lesson that maybe you learned almost intuitively through life and share it with your kids as you're raising kids about to go through the same processes?
I think it's interesting when I didn't realize it. I didn't really feel my identity when I was younger. And with time I did. And it was more meaningful to me. And he was in that we both weren't very religious, but we celebrated holidays and but meeting each other. I guess to my kids, I said, make sure it's the right one. Like, feel it. There shouldn't be doubts. It shouldn't be a lot of work. It should just feel right. And each one of them, luckily, and you officiated their weddings, they found their right person. And to me, that's the most important thing.
And to be fair, it's not only that a person is Jewish. I often say you need to find somebody who's friendly to your Jewish identity because you want to make sure that this marriage is hard already, make it a little bit easier with that shared vision of moving forward. I'm wondering, though, now as an adult looking at your own children and grandchildren, is this something you think is going to matter for the future of the Jewish people? Like, we're in a strange time right now where there's a lot of anti-Semitism, there's a lot of challenges against our community. Do you think this is something that we should be doing differently as a community? And the reason I'm asking is because I look at our parents, grandparents who said, you got to marry a Jewish guy, you got to marry a Jewish girl. And that's not necessarily always true today. So as a mom, looking at children and grandchildren, what's the truth today for you?
Well, honestly, we never really said to our kids, we want you to marry Jewish. We said life would be easier. You'll have so much more in common. They ended up mainly dating people that were Jewish, but it was what felt right to them. But now, my son said to me the other day, Mom, you're so Jewish. And I thought, I stumbled. I didn't know what to say. I said, well, I don't know. I read the Jewish news. I saw this concert I wanted to go to. I went to see the Nova Festival. I said, I don't know. And I should have said, thank you. I'm so Jewish. And I realized, yeah, I think all of us after October 7th feel more Jewish or want to feel more Jewish. I think that is a wonderful result of the horrible war and tragedy that's going on. But I feel that way, and I didn't before. I think we all feel it.
It's really interesting to hear you talk about that. We, Jewish professionals, are talking a lot about something that's been given a name. It's called the surge. It's this surge of Jewish identity building and involvement and engagement in Jewish institutions post-October 7th.
Mm-hmm.
The real question that we're facing now is, how do we sustain that, and how do we transmit that reconnect to the future? Because let's face it, we're in a world where there are a lot of other options now, right? When you were growing up, if you wanted to be around a group of Jewish girlfriends, BBG was the place.
Mm-hmm.
Today, our kids can be involved with soccer teams and dance troupes and all sorts of things. Is there something that you think we should be doing to grow that Jewish community connection so that we are here for our children and grandchildren?
I don't know. I think when I was younger, I couldn't have sped up my identity. I felt it with time. I felt as our kids end up going to Hebrew school. I loved all the whole celebrations. When we get together with the family, we celebrate all the Jewish holidays. When I was younger, if my parents didn't do it, I said, "Oh, great, we get out of that." So I don't think it could be sped up, but I think emotionally everybody feels the need for. I think more people feel lucky that they belong to a cultural group. I don't think they quite realized it being young, that it's very special what we have.
It's interesting to hear you say all of this, because on the one hand, you're saying this natural evolution of our Jewish identities is a good thing. Just let it come. Let it come slowly. You may not feel as deeply connected as a teenager as you do as a college kid, and then as a young adult, and ultimately as a grandparent. On the other hand, we do have to do something. Let's face it, Orthodox Judaism has it very easy. Orthodox Jews observe as many of the mitzvot as they can. They're very active in Jewish ritual and personal family observance. We Reform Jews have to deal with that cultural identity a little bit differently. So I'm just interested, as a grandparent, do you feel a responsibility now to be the one to maybe light Shabbat candles every once in a while, or come to temple more often?
Yes. I don't know if I feel a responsibility. I want to do it. And I think that's where my son's question came from. Oh, you're so Jewish. But I want to do these things. I want to stay connected. I wanted to see that singer I thought she was from Israel. I don't know where she was from. She was great. But I want to support Soul Cafe. I want to brag about how great the Jewish news is again. I remember when it was just so crummy and big and didn't have anything in it. The Jewish news has so much news about all of us. It unites us. If you talk to the younger me, I would have rolled my eyes and thought, oh my God, she's so Jewish now. And again, I'd say, yep, thank you.
Yeah, we look out as rabbis into the congregation and we see people who are our age and older, and I'm often thinking differently from what you're suggesting. Boy, I wish I could get young people here. I wish I could get young people here. And I do want that to happen. And this beautiful natural progression that you're talking about is also okay, because as time goes by, I hope that people will feel more connected to, more need to be the progenitors of the next generation of Jewish identity and Jewish connection.
I do think, Temple Israel is doing it. I think, not to plug necessarily Temple Israel, but
we'll take a shameless plug.
Right, they're trying to be cooler, doing younger things. Having the services informal is a big coup. That so many guys don't want to wear a tie, or people dress up, or we used to, I never used to wear pants to services. Now everybody's comfortable wearing whatever. It's comfortable, it's informal, it's part of everyday life. I think they're great at doing that.
One more question on the subject, then we're going to switch a little bit here. We have video services available for the holidays. Do you guys come to temple on the high holidays, or do you prefer to watch?
We come to temple usually, yeah.
Do you think that's different? Do you think I'm with you?
I like going to the children's service and the family service.
So you like that in-person community that we create?
Yeah, more so with grandchildren.
Yeah, love it. And I'm hopeful that more and more people will start to understand that while the services online are great, even better to really feel the energy of the room with little kids and families, and even in the adult services, the energy of the room you cannot match at home. All right, I want to go all the way back to your earlier part of your life when you were a Spanish teacher. Where did you teach?
For 23 years, well, first I taught in Lake Odessa because right out of college, I did not want to come home. I was in my, rebellious stage looking back. And I taught in Lake Odessa, which is outside of East Lansing, and had a boyfriend that wasn't Jewish. So I was in another world. Then I finished that year. It was just taking someone's sabbatical for a year. And then I was offered 4 jobs back here: Birmingham, West Bloomfield, Novi, and Lake Odessa again. And I didn't want to work where I lived. I didn't want to live in a total, more Jewish community because I wanted my privacy. So, and I wasn't married yet. So I took Novi and came home and got my own apartment. That was the rule with my parents. I said, I'll come home, but I'm not living at home, which was a hard one at first. So then I taught there for 23 years, which was my social life and my life at Novi were 2 different worlds. And I was very for public school and was very glad I did not live in Novi, that my world was I lived in West Bloomfield, and then I married Gary. And I was glad I had 2 separate worlds. So then after 23 years, I decided, okay, I want to go around. I was teaching teachers, and I essentially kind of retired. Then Jewish Academy, JAMmed it was called, they called me, Helene Cohn, called me and said, we really need a substitute teacher. I said, I just left a great job. They said, well, we really need a teacher. And between Helene Cohn and Rabbi Buckman, they are impossible to say no to. So I went there thinking, okay, I'm going to teach 6 months. And so here's me against private schools because I like the greater mix of everybody in public. I didn't want a Jewish bubble. That's what I had been. And here, now I'm older, and I loved it because now the parents were my friends. It wasn't like I had an exciting social group that I had to hide from anybody. And I loved it. And it was meaningful. And I went to Israel with them. I mean, that was a first. And that was mind-blowing to me. And I just realized more who I was.
So I'm seeing the same exact transition that happened in your normal adult life, going from this free-thinking young person to a more committed Jewish adult, also happened exactly in the same fashion in your teaching world. You went from a secular public school, eventually finding a return to your roots at the Jewish Academy. And I think the lesson that I'm hearing is that if we are open to it, our Jewish identities can evolve and shift and change and grow in a really beautiful and authentic way. And I know you came in thinking, I don't have an aha moment, but that is really a waking up to life moment for me. Let it happen, and it will bring you back home to who you really are. It's a great life lesson, is that just let things happen, and eventually you'll find yourself in the right space. And I'm so glad you did, because I've had the chance to see your family, and as you said, be involved in weddings and families growing. I think you're an incredible example to young people, to both as a teacher and as a Jewish adult member of our community. I'm really proud to have you here and on the show.
Thank you.
So I end every one of my podcasts, you may know from listening, with one question. As a teacher, I'm sure you continue to be reading and watching and educating yourself. So is there something that you are reading right now, a book or maybe a television show that you're watching, that has really impacted you, that you can share with everybody so that they can get that same life lesson?
Well, this is still in the Judaism thing. I listened to Barry Weiss, the podcast, honestly, because I couldn't stand, I wanted the truth about what was going on in Israel. I wanted both sides. I didn't like the snarkiness of CNN and Fox News. I couldn't stand the news stations. So I was seeking more information, fair information on podcasts. So Barry Weiss, honestly, is really who I listen to.
Everybody should listen to Barry Weiss's podcast, honestly. I'll plug her, and maybe I should ask her to be on my show and tell us what woke her up to wanting to create that podcast. It's a great recommendation. Thank you. It has really been amazing to have you on the show. I'm so glad you were willing. I know you were hesitant to do this, but I really think the lessons you've shared have made a big, big difference for me, for your family, and I hope for people who are listening.
Thank you. It was a fun introspection.
So for everybody who's listened today, I hope you've learned something. I hope you've been able to shape a new understanding of your own life. And until next time, I hope you will keep waking up to life.